Vice Chair Bashu, we're ready when you are.
I will now call the December 2nd, 2025 Parks and Community Events Commission meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Herrera? Commissioner Jimenez?
Here.
Commissioner McCollum? Vice Chair Bashu?
Here.
Chair Hyland? Let the record show Commissioner Herrera and Chair Hyland are absent. Commissioner Herrera informed staff that he would not be in attendance in this meeting.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes, Chair.
Will the clerk please read the statement of participation?
This is the opportunity for members of the public to comment on any items not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the Commission may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The Chairman may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during the public comment or may request a matter to be agendized for a future meeting. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Chair, I did not receive any comments and we currently do not have any attendees in the chambers.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. Approval of the November 4th, 2025 Parks and Community Events Commission meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? Okay. Are there any public comments on the minutes?
Chair, I have none.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Hi, my chair.
And I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jimenez and a second by Commissioner McCollum. Please vote. Motion carries all ayes.
Agenda item A, Cathedral City Community Center feasibility study update for the Parks and Community Events Commission. May we have an introduction, please?
You do, Chair. As you know, the Cathedral City Community Center feasibility study has been well underway, and that effort's being led through the City Manager's Office. Our City Manager, Ann Ambrose, is leading the charge with her capable and able administrative analyst, Victor Gomez, who also works out of the City Manager's Office. And Victor is going to give us the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Hello, Commissioners, City staff. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Victor Gomez, and I'm going to provide an update on the study for the Parks and Community Events Commission. And we will have a segment at the end for discussion, but please feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentation. So for tonight's agenda, we will be going over introductions. My name is Victor Gomez again, Administrative Analyst for the City Manager's Office and Economic Development. We'll also be going over the work plan and schedule of the project, the needs assessment and recreation best practices, stakeholder and community input, program opportunities, site analysis and evaluation, as well as next steps for the study. So a little bit of background. Part of the city's 5-year strategic plan is to conduct a site and cost analysis for a future community center. This past November 2024, Measure W was approved. This will generate approximately $5 million annually for city services per year, starting this past April 2025. A portion of this will be used as funding toward a new community center. This past July 2025, the city annexed into the Desert Recreation District, also known as DRD, to provide recreational services and park maintenance, and the DRD, of course, provides high-quality recreational programming and services. With the feasibility study, we will review the demand for a new community center in Cathedral City, identify potential locations, compare reuse/renovation versus new construction, look at upfront and ongoing costs, as well as potential scalability and phasing opportunities for the future. If you look, we are in the very second day of December, so we're nearing the end of the study's work plan. Originally, the study was slated to be completed in December, this month, 2025, with presentation to council in January of 2026. However, due to the unfortunate passing of Councilmember Carnevale, the timeline has been pushed back a month. So the top three sites are hoped to be honed in on in January by the City Council, with final presentation of the results of the study in February 2026. So we're a month behind schedule, but on schedule, I guess you could say, just accounting for recent events. As far as where we are in the overall community center process, if we're looking at master planning to actual completion of the center, we're still very early on in the master planning phase. So we're in the master planning phase, and it'll be many years until the community center is actually built out. And so after the master planning phase, which we're in, which includes the feasibility study, it will then move to design, which will include a conceptual drawing, schematics, as well as construction documents. From that point, it will move to construction, where the city will put out to bid and award to a consultant who will eventually construct the future center. So to reiterate, we're very early on in the process, but we're trying to do our due diligence to ensure that the master planning is done appropriately to guide the rest of the process. If you look on this screen, the facility types that are currently in Cathedral City are listed before you. These include arts and culture facilities, recreational facilities, and the school facility. One second, please.
If only it smelled like bacon too.
We'll give it another minute and then probably continue just for the sake of time. Okay, so again, if you look at the slide we're currently on, it goes over the current facilities that are in the city. This is arts and culture facilities, recreational facilities, as well as a school facility that is used for communal purposes, that of course being the Cathedral City High School pool that is operated by the Desert Recreation District in the summertime. And if you look, this includes city-owned facilities, non-city-owned facilities. You can see the senior center there, the CV repertory there, and it's really to highlight all of the facilities that are in the city. And in addition to highlighting what we do have, it also illustrates the lack of inside facilities that the city has. We have very strong park presence, I guess you could say, but as far as recreational programming indoors that is operated by the city, there's not many facilities at all. Part of what Group 4 Architecture was able to do for this feasibility study is draft this map. And in this map, what you'll see is varying hues of orange, each one with a number inside of it. This is to reflect population density per census tract total population counts. So as you can see, it kind of divvies it up by census tract. And if you look at all of the red stars, numbered 1 through 9, these are all of the potential sites that are being evaluated for the community center in the future. And so in addition to these sites being mapped out by the stars, there are also other things were mapped out, such as existing bikeways, proposed bikeways, public pools, parks, as well as sunlight, transit routes, and bus stops. And then the effort to do this was really to show where the population is in the city and how these potential sites align with that population. The idea is that the future community center is accessible by most of the city residents and population, not only to the northern end of the city or southern end of the city or anywhere else where it's not mostly densely populated. In working with Group 4 Architecture, some of the 2025 best practices and trends that are being seen across the nation today for community and recreation centers is what you see before you. That community centers are community driven, that decisions aren't made in a silo without asking the community what they would like to see. Community centers are also multi-generational and accessible to all. So from youth to elderly citizens, everyone will have some programming or some place in the center where they'll be able to access it. A wide variety of recreational activities is also being seen, as well as spaces for social hubs. To my understanding, traditionally, community centers didn't necessarily have spaces where one can just go and interact with other people without having to do a particular program or event. But in 2025, we are seeing social hubs becoming more prominent. In addition, most of the spaces have to be multi-use and adaptable. And so with these spaces, they have to serve many functions. One room has to be able to serve multiple programs. That way, each space is utilized appropriately. Sustainable design and efficient operations goes hand in hand. We want to make sure that, especially given that we're in a desert climate that gets extremely hot, that the center is designed to be sustainable and that it operates efficiently given our extreme climate. Lastly, community centers are seen as resiliency and resource centers. And so if there's ever an emergency, can we use it to distribute emergency supplies? Only a few years ago we had Tropical Storm Hillary. And so that would be an example of an unforeseen event that the community center could potentially be utilized as to distribute. Take a quick pause. Got a little louder. Oh, okay. Community center per 31,600 residents. Now, again, that is nationwide, so it's not necessarily indicative of our regional location, which is the Pacific Southwest. Honing in on the Pacific Southwest, you see that it's more one community center per 44,700 residents. And so this chart just illustrates where Cathedral City stands in terms of our facilities. Again, not many. We do have a lot of parks and an amphitheater, of course, but this just shows you where we are relative to the Pacific Southwest, again, where we're located regionally, nationwide, as well as population sizes that are akin to Cathedral City. So Cathedral City has a population of roughly 56,000 people, and so this is just to illustrate across the nation and in our region, cities or locations with that population amount. For standards, is about 0.75 to 2 square feet per resident, which is a typical target for indoor community facilities. Now, typical modern facility sizes can range. If it's a full-service community/senior center that offers a full array of programming, it's about 20,000 to 35,000 square feet. Whereas if it's a community and a recreation center, that number bumps up to 30,000 to 45,000 square feet. One of the main differences would be, for example, a gymnasium. Where a gymnasium would offer a larger array of recreational activities, but a lack of a gymnasium doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a complete community center. The City and Group 4 Architecture have conducted intensive and extensive surveying of residents both in the city and outside of the city, through online surveying as well as in-person outreach. So there were 2 rounds of online surveys. The first round garnered about 1,000 participants, and the second round about 900. So nearly 2,000 people voted to see what they would like to see in the future community center. This included surveying at the library, senior center, Boys and Girls Club, Hispanic Heritage Month block party, schools, James Workman Middle School, as well as Nellie Kaufman Middle School, to ask the students directly what they would like to see in the center. We also went to El Super, Toro Loco, and a lot of other city events to really try to get the community's feedback when we could. Some of the goals that we saw for a new community center, some themes that emerged, were to have an accessible and inclusive third place. Again, that ties back into having the social hub where people can go and congregate and not necessarily have a program to do, but to talk with one another. Multi-generational programming and social connection, youth and teen focus spaces, indoor recreation, fitness and sports, arts, culture, and performance, education, skills, and workforce. Events and rentals was something that emerged, having a rental space that you can have a party at, or maybe a quinceañera or something. And also basic needs where someone can go and have perhaps, again, a cooling center or something to that effect. This is the summary of the round one engagement. Round one focused on asking people what type of programming would they like to see in the center, as well as what type of facilities would you like to see in the center. And it is divvied up by these different categories. The lighter orange is adults that live in Cathedral City. Darker orange is non-city resident adults. Green is teen, and blue is youth. So again, we really tried to ask all types of populations on what they would like to see in the center. And again, this is resulting from online surveying and in-person surveying. The second round consisted of the type of design values that people would like to see in the center. And so as you can see, the top one that emerged is playful and creative, desert-inspired, and very closely after that was nature-focused. And again, with these colors, you can see which one or which type of interior design value was most important to which age group. And so again, this is online and in-person surveying. As far as stakeholder participation, the city and Group 4 Architecture did meet with all of these different stakeholders, from the local tribal government to the school district to different commissions and committee members, to local churches, and everyone else you see here. Some stakeholder input and themes that emerged from the stakeholder input were having an inclusive, affordable, bilingual, and sensory-friendly place, multi-generational social community hub, again, responsive to the hot climate, having a community center that's really locally inspired. We don't want a cookie-cutter community center. We want one that really speaks to the heart of Cathedral City, you could say. Also looking at joint use opportunities with the library, senior center, and other programs. The center being central and accessibly located by all of the city. Having flexible rental space with a kitchen, perhaps. Having programs, makerspace, childcare, arts and performance. Having indoor recreation, fitness, and outdoor amenities. And again, it being a resiliency/resource center. And as you can see here, this is a space use/activity matrix. So taking all of the feedback that was garnered from round one, seeing how that fit and how with particular spaces in the community. So for example, some of the activities you have are exercise, fitness, gaming, lifelong learning, and the idea was to show where those activities take place in certain rooms. So if you look at lobby or reception area, I mean, nothing is going to happen there. But if you look at an enrichment classroom, that could take care of most of those. Activities. This is just an example of a base building program. So this isn't necessarily to say that this is what the future center will be programmed with, but it's just to show an example as we hone in on a few sites and hone in on making sure that the center aligns with the community's desires. And so you can see that as a base, for example, it will have a lobby or reception area, a multi-generational lounge, a community hall or event space that can be divisible so that you could have two smaller events going on at the same time, perhaps, conference and breakout rooms, classrooms, a teen center for a teen lounge, and of course, early childhood recreation and some other amenities you see there. One important thing to note about the community center is that it necessarily does not have to be all in one place. That I mean, there are some cities and municipalities that have the community center split up into different areas in their cities. So for example, one might house where the senior center is and the teen center, and another facility might house where their gymnasium is, or another portion that offers recreational activities. So again, this is just an example that Group 4 has drafted of going back to that scalability or phasing out of the community center. More than likely, will it all be built out at once? No. But that doesn't mean that we can't craft the program and build it out, keeping the future in mind, addressing most of the priorities now, and accounting for the priorities in the future that are not achievable now. And so you can see that phase 1 would be about 25,500 square feet. That would include an entryway, community spaces, classrooms. Phase 2, let's say again that's not on the same property, so to speak. It would also have their own entry, classrooms, perhaps a fitness or a wellness aspect. And then you also have optional enhancements. Perhaps one of them can have a cafe or outdoor recreational storage. We know storage is a big ticket item for these facilities as they need somewhere to store their places, their objects. A full build-out will probably look around 53,000 square feet. Again, this could be at one central location, or it could be split up across the city. As far as potential sites, as you recall from the last map, there were those 9 stars that showed where those sites were. These are the actual sites that are being evaluated. These sites were provided to Group 4 Architecture by city staff and city council and are at the forefront of what is being evaluated. You have the old Walmart building, which is non-city owned, old Burlington building, non-city owned, and then you have city-owned sites near the amphitheater, which is partially city-owned, the library, again city-owned, the site across from the Salvation Army, the site across from the City Hall, also known as the 5 acres, the Uptown Village site, and the site by Northgate Church, which is non-city owned. Dennis Keats Soccer Park, you'll notice, is slightly grayed out compared to the other sites, and that's because since these sites were provided to a Group 4 Architecture and city staff by city council, in our research, it has kind of become apparent that Dennis Keat more than likely won't be a viable site, and that's due to site limitations. So for example, it is a park, and if you do take away some of that green space, more than likely we'll have to replace that somewhere else in the city. And so we're looking more into that, but at least on a preliminary level, it looks like that site will more than likely not be feasible. Evaluation criteria that's being used for these sites, first and foremost, are the prerequisites that I guess you could say aren't necessarily deal breakers, but they're more important. These are availability, capacity, zoning, and cost. And then after that, in terms of importance, you have accessibility, economic impact, connectivity, and outdoor amenities. And so again, some of the more important ones is, does the city already own the site? And if we don't, what does it look like if the city has to purchase the site and potentially retrofit a site? What about capacity? Does a site that the city is looking at have the capacity to expand or have that scalability in the future? Does the zoning allow even for a community center to be built on these sites that we're examining? And probably most importantly is, of course, cost. It would be wonderful to be able to build out whatever we would like to appease all of the residents, but we do live in the real world, and so we have to be practical about what's achievable. Now we have a matrix of all of these 9 sites that we went over briefly, again, graying out Dennis Keats Soccer Park, to show where these sites land in terms of all of these criteria. Green, of course, yellow could be potentially challenging, and orange is challenging. And so I'll just leave these up for a second, and you see that again. Of most importance is availability, capacity, zoning, and cost. $1 sign is not too expensive. That would be, for example, retrofitting perhaps city-owned building already where it wouldn't be too much construction versus having to purchase a non-owned site and then retrofit that building, or building completely ground up on a city-owned site. And as you see, there are sites that are starred, which are city-owned, and they are starred because these are becoming, I guess you would say, the leaders of the sites that are being analyzed, just because they meet certain criteria more than the other sites. And this isn't to say that these sites are the sites expanded upon or selected by council or given to council. And again, 3 sites: the library site, the site by the Salvation Army, and the 5 acres by the senior center. Financial capacity summary. So current Measure W funding projections outline $1 million a year for community center operations and $1 million a year for debt service. Now in the current bond marketplace, a 20-year debt schedule will generate approximately $13 million in capital. So if you look at what that $13 million in capital, what the city is able to get with that amount, you can look down there to see that construction plus renovation at a city-owned site might be able to get the city 10,000 to 14,000 square feet. If you take it all the way to the bottom bullet, if we have to renovate and do a land lease, that's going to drastically cut the amount of center that the city can build out. So it's trying to be fiscally responsible with what that debt service is able to provide. Some considerations for the cost analysis, potential sites based on financial capacity. Land acquisition and building costs may be too prohibitive. With budgetary constraints, a city-owned site may be more economically feasible. There's an ultimate need for square footage with Measure W funds, so the city must consider potential for future phasing and expansion. The city needs to consider land acquisition or lease costs. Are there CCNRs that need to be evaluated? Again, referencing Dennis Keats Soccer Park. Are there outdoor space opportunities? The Walmart site was in the due diligence process. The city was communicating with the broker, but that seemed to fall through. So these are all just other aspects to consider. The library site in particular does have a great central location. It is on city-owned land, and it is a city-owned building. And the library can operate in less square footage per stakeholder conversations with library staff and with the county. The Big League Dreams operator is pursuing a partnership with a vendor specializing in national level individual player showcases and team tournaments. And there is opportunity for shared parking, as well as an opportunity to repurpose a portion of the site's landscaping. So it's no surprise that when Big League Dreams has larger events, the Mary Nutter tournament, for example, that parking is extremely limited. So that would be something to consider and to address if the site at the library is to be, I guess you would say, favored. Some potential additional funding sources: grants, resiliency grants, resource center grants, photovoltaic, so solar panel grants. The potential funding sources could be from the Environmental Fund, public-public partnerships. Again, if we were to do a dual facility with another public agency, that's what that would look like, as well as philanthropy or a donor program. And so I know I just bombarded you with a lot of information, but this is a portion for discussion. So if you have any questions so far, now's the time to discuss, and then I'd be happy to go back to any slide.
I think my primary question right now is just how can we best support you in this process as the Parks and Community Events Commission?
At this time, I mean, just allowing me to present on the status of this feasibility study is a fantastic support, and in the loop of what's going on. Before the Group 4 architecture consultants, we did do stakeholder engagement and invite all the commissioners and committees and whatnot. So, you know, if there's ever a time where we go again for stakeholder re-engagement or anything to that effect, a great time as well to participate. But again, just simply being here and this information is great support.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, so if you would like to provide input as well, we are taking this to council at the end of January. I believe that's the 28th. Or is that end of January, the last January council meeting, where we will take it to council in the hopes of narrowing it down to the top site, top 2 sites, perhaps top 3 sites, at most top 3 sites we're hoping. So if you would like to go and make your input there and of course make a comment to council, that would also be an appropriate time to let council know what you think about it as the commissioners of PACE.
I think the best area that I see more central to the city was the Walmart.
The Walmart?
The old Walmart.
Yes, sir.
And I think since that was owned by the city, I don't think that they're going to spend so much money on landscape and paving.
The Walmart site is, again, a strong contender, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Director, please, but I don't believe the city owns the Walmart site. And so some of the issues that could occur with the Walmart site is, again, we would have to acquire the site, so either purchase. And then, it was originally built as a commercial building. And so that's not to say that it could not be retrofitted for a community center in Cathedral City, but looking at to see, is it perhaps too big for what we're able to afford? And then also with retrofitting, What could come along with that is that if you do retrofit it for a different purpose, because it is an older site, you could perhaps trigger coming into compliance with current codes. And so that's, again, not that it's off the table completely, but it is an excellent, it is located excellently.
So in addition to what Victor said, there had been a previous broker that the city was working with who was trying to acquire the site. And part of the reason that that deal fell through was that the price that the owner was asking was way higher than what they felt the value of it was. So the city would be in the same predicament, that if we made an offer on the building, that we kind of know going in that the price being asked for it is higher than the city would be able to afford. And part of the evaluation that has been done is also looking at if we wanted to, so if, say, we leased, somebody came in to develop that building and the city leased it, what would be the costs involved in, and it was fairly prohibitive. And I think that's been the challenge with some of these retail centers, like the Walmart building, like the Burlington Coat Factory building, is that, it's a matter of what the sellers want to ask and the value of that. And I think that has been a limiting factor in development happening in some of those sites at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Any other questions or point of discussion?
I'm fine.
So if there's no more discussion, I'll just briefly go over next. Next, the city will work for architecture to develop a program, site, and phasing diagrams for the preferred site or sites, to develop cost models in conjunction with our financial services director and department, to conduct a second round of technical meetings, one of which is already scheduled with city planners and engineers, and to have recommendations from city council in January, again at the last January city council meeting, with final recommendations in February 2026. And with that, if there's no more questions or points of discussion, I thank you for your time.
Are there any members of the public who would like to comment?
Chair, we have none.
This was for discussion only. There's no formal action required. Agenda item B, an update on the 2025 Arts in the California Parks implementation grant for Hope Rising, Esperanza Park Cultural Celebration. May I have an introduction, please?
Chair, our city manager, Ann Ambrose, is going to give you the information on a successful implementation grant that the city received. Go ahead.
Welcome in.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. It's my pleasure to bring you some additional good news on ways that the city has found funding to promote other events in our city parks. So back in 2020, I'm trying to think if it was 2023 or 2024, 2024, there was a new grant program that the state was offering called Art in California Parks. And this was an effort to promote art and cultural activities in local city and city regional parks versus state parks. So in 2024, the city submitted an application to the program. At the time, we submitted a planning grant to have funds to sort of strategize and plan for events. We did not receive that, and so the following year, the second year of funding was available, and we applied for an implementation grant. And what was really good we made it through the first stage of, okay, you're through it now, bolster your application. And during that process, we began our partnership with the Desert Recreation District. And so Cynthia Barcacho, who is our community services supervisor, hey, I got it close, came on board and really helped us develop the application. What was a little hard for the city standpoint is we didn't have a parks department to help really, talk about what would be implemented and what would be possible. So working alongside with Cynthia, we were able to develop a concept for the park. And really what we wanted this grant funding to be was to go towards Esperanza Park for activation at that park. We have this beautiful brand new park, and we really wanted the grant funding to be able to scheduled a series of events at the park to bring the community together, to continue building that community ownership for the park. And also, I think, celebrate the history of that neighborhood. And just, I think, some of the themes that we've been hearing as we've signed the Public Arts Commission, and as we've talked to the neighbors about what's important to you, what's important for a public art piece there. It's been centering around the themes of hope. So beyond just the name Esperanza, but the ideas that have been floated for the art piece that we're working on were about kind of rebirth and regeneration and rising from the ashes. And so in our application, we titled it Hope Rising. And the application focuses on doing, 4 different events. Looking to the right page to talk about it. But focusing on the past, the present, the future, and then coming together are really the themes. And this is all due by October of next year. So Cynthia and I were just talking, and this is or any participation that's desired by the Public Arts Commission to plan events that are going to be occurring at the park. The grant is for $98,000, and so it will cover the cost of the staff from DRD who will be taking the lion's share of the work. It'll also provide for materials and all of the other things, whether it's musical acts or different things that will be part of it. We did receive support from DRD at the time, from the Senior Center, from the Boys and Girls Club. We've also been talking to Agua Caliente tribe, or Agua Caliente Band of Kuya Indians staff, to again honor those people who have historically been here before us. And so we think we have an opportunity to do some really fun events at the park. The grant application was in your packet, so you have kind of the full application that we submitted that we will be working to implement. One of along with the community events is a mural for the park. It would be on the side of the bathroom building facing CB Link. And our hope is focusing on the themes of Echoes of the Past, Together We Heal, and having it be so that whoever the artist selected is will be able to have the community involved in the painting of the mural for that portion of the grant. So that's just kind of an overview. Working with DRD to really kind of vet out and start getting scheduling ready for these programs so that we can work around our usual summertime closures where it's just not good for people and spend a lot of time outside. But we're really excited to be successful in this grant and look forward to utilizing it to really activate at Esperanza Park. So I'm here if you have any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission?
Okay.
Are there any members of the public who wish to comment?
Chair, we have none.
This was for discussion only. There's no formal action required. Agenda item C, Parks and Community Events Commission, discussion on hosting a health fair. May we have an introduction, please?
Yes, Chair. There was a discussion last commission meeting regarding having hosting a health fair. 2 commissioners were looking at 2 different venues at 2 different parks. Chair Hyland had recommended that she hadn't determined the location, but she was looking at having a health fair event. And then Commissioner Jimenez also was a little more defined, saying he'd like to see something at Esperanza Park, and he also stated that he was looking at working with Desert Healthcare District on participating in that event. We put this on the agenda as an opportunity for you to have an open discussion regarding this subject matter. If anyone knows a little more about what Chair Hyland was wanting to do, we can chime in on that. But sans Chair Hyland being here, we can focus in on Commissioner Jimenez, your particular interest in an event and kind of get this pushed along a little farther rather than continuing a limited discussion on that. So go ahead, you have the mic.
I have a meeting with Desert Hacker, and on the meeting that we decided to do it, to see if it was available to do it on 21st of February from 10 to 1. The only requirement for the city is the only thing they're required to have is going to be to the city provide with some chairs, some tables, and some of the canopies.
Commissioner Jimenez, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
and
What
are we
park
talk-
was this at, or what's the location?
And Esperanza Park.
Esperanza
Yeah,
Park.
that's
Thank you.
what I wanted to know, okay. So is this something that you would want to put the specifics in a staff report so that we can put that forward into an agenda item for our December, or for our January meeting to get support from the rest of the commission to participate and support that event? And if there's funding needed or no funding needed, we vet that out then, because that would have to go to city council if there is any funding needed. If there's no funding needed, there shouldn't be a problem in having that event, as long as there's no conflicting event at that venue on that day.
I don't think there was any funding needed.
That's always good.
The only thing that we need, like I said, we need some chairs, some tables, and canopies. That's about it.
So would you be willing to put together a staff report with those specifics or bullet points to that effect, and then submit it to the commissioner, the commission's liaisons, and we'll put that on the agenda, and we can talk to you a little more about that as we go forward. And then once again, when that comes to the January event or January commission meeting, you can talk about more of the specifics regarding needing volunteers or what time and all those things. If you knew the time of the event and everything, that'd be great to have for the staff report as well.
Yeah, the time and event, like I said, we wanted to do it on the 21st
Correct.
of February from 10 to 1. At Esperanza Park. And this is not only for Green Homes area, this is all for the whole Cathedral City community.
And so the commission's responsibility is, what you're projecting is, yes, this is at Esperanza Park, but you're showcasing this park to the rest of the city, and they're going to come there just as we do other events at other parks to showcase that event, and the whole city's invited, so that's great.
Yeah, that's. The vendors, would they be there? Does the Desert High Care District, they're going to have 2 mobile clinics. And then it's going to be ophthalmology. It's going to be a doctor for women. And it's going to be a doctor, eye doctor, dentist, ophthalmology, and mostly it's going to be in these about between 6 to 7 doctors, different doctors for different specialties.
It'd be great if you listed those for the staff report so that we could put those in there too.
Yeah,
Just a bullet point list.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Okay.
And then this is switching gears, I can speak a little bit more to what Chair Hyland had in mind, although she'll be able to add a little bit more color to it. And I think that timeline-wise, we've got a little bit of time to get the wheels moving. But I know she had in mind more of like a family fitness festival, so more like, physical health in terms of partnering with different businesses that could offer like yoga or dance classes, just different things of that nature for all ages. So I think they're definitely different, and I think it's a great resource to have in both regards. And I'm partnering with Chair Highland on that, but I think we pushed our timeline back to early spring. So hopefully more to come by the January meeting.
That's excellent, and they are very different, but they're both health, health-type care events. If you can do the same as I've requested from Commissioner Jimenez, is if you could provide staff report. If you want to write it out, you bullet point it, maybe throw it in AI and see what comes out of what it comes out to. But as long as you have those bullets and that information in there, we can work with it and at least produce a staff report. I think you're in the more initial stages, respecting Chair Highland working with you on that, and we'll put that up for discussion next month. I think what we're looking at with Commissioner Jimenez is yours is actually going to go to a vote to support the event, and we can set the date and we can make sure that at least from our community events manager to make sure there's no conflicting events at that park. We can work with DRD to make sure there's no conflicting events at that park, or even get some support from DRD on that during that meantime. So the sooner you can get that to us, that'd be great. Remember, it's the holiday season. We need that. So there would be a lot of days off that staff won't be here. So I think we've set the date a little sooner for those staff reports. Do you have that, Christina?
Sounds great.
That's excellent.
Who is the subcommittee for the health fair? Commissioner Jimenez, and who was the other person?
I don't know if is there anyone working with you on this event, Commissioner?
No.
Well, I just wanted to say that maybe we can have an animal, a dog, a pet adoption clinic also. That's easy to get to help if that's possible. That's easy to arrange.
Yeah.
Another opportunity to get animals adopted.
As long as just the two of you are talking about that, you can discuss that.
Right, sure. I just
As far
wanted
as
to
any
maybe if there's something-
participatory
If
events.
it's something that's interest to you, and it's we could get some of these animals adopted. We know so many people in the nonprofits for the animals that we could have somebody set something up.
And that could be applicable to the other event,
Sure,
the
of course.
fitness
Yeah.
type event for the healthcare. So animals play a big part in both those type of roles for health and wellness and health and fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd be fine. Probably by the next meeting, we're gonna have the flyers already done for this event. We was talking about to get the flyers down by middle of December.
Well, let's do this. Have your flyer ready to go. We'll put it in the staff report for approval. Remember, you're working together as a commission and you want the support of the commission. It'd be great that the commission puts its stamp of approval on it, and you also have your support from the commission. So then you can print the flyers after that, because it sounds like you're going to have a whole almost 30 days before the event from the commission meeting. And if there's no funding involved, you don't have to worry about city council approval for the event.
Okay.
I think it'd be great also to partner in reaching out to businesses that are local to Esperanza Park too. Like Coffee just opened their location there, so maybe we could get them to have a little stand at the health fair too. And I feel like more people show up if you offer snacks and drink sometimes. So I think we could definitely partner around who we could get to the health fair too.
Commissioner Jimenez, I will introduce you to the general manager of Coffee on Saturday at Felicia Navidad, and maybe you can ask her if she wants to be part of your event.
Thank you.
Our event.
No, this is good collaboration.
No, I'm not. I'm just adding an option for them. Okay, all done with the questions? Are there any members of the public that wish to comment?
I have none, Chair.
This was only for discussion, and there's no formal action required. Staff comments. Are there any staff comments?
Commissioner, just to let you know, the attendance record is part of your packet. We don't need further discussion, just a note for you to review your own attendance record and your fellow commissioners' attendance records. In addition to that, update on Esperanza Park entryway art piece. I'm going to let our esteemed city manager give us an update on that because it is moving along. Chair.
Okay. Good evening again. So the Esperanza entryway art piece has been out for a call for artists. We used a new system this time called Cafe, which is an online platform for public art commissions. And we received 148 applicants from around the nation. So we were really excited about that. The commissioners are currently in the process of going through the applicants and making sure that they meet all of the criteria set for the applications. And they're reviewing the artwork samples that were submitted. From that, they will be meeting to try to narrow down that list to their top 3. Because what we have budgeted for in the project is the top 3 artists will then be invited to develop a concept based on the information and input that we received from the community. They will develop 3 concepts, and once those are received, we will present that to the community, present that to the PACE Commission, and try to develop consensus around one of the art pieces. And then from that, move to recommend that piece to the council for award. So the PACE Commission, or the Public Arts Commission, your names are too similar. The Public Arts Commission is currently in that review process and have kind of a daunting task to go through all of those, but are feeling really excited by just the quality of the artists that we're submitting, and so it's just kind of the task of making sure that they are selecting artists that really speak to the vision that the community has set forth. And what we did with the RFP was we included the direct comments that we got from the community meeting in Esperanza. There were coloring sheets sent to the children at the Agua Caliente school, asking them to design their art piece, and we included probably about 90 of those art pieces with the RFP, so that the applicants could see the community's voice and the community's suggestions for art. So all of that was included with the RFP to help the artists, envision what the community wants. So we will be completing the next review phase by probably towards the end of December. There will be a mandatory meeting with the top bidders, and then they will have a period of time to develop their concept, to then present at a Public Arts Commission meeting, and then we'll be doing that same outreach with PACE and with the community. And then from there, the award, and then just how long construction takes is, anyone's guess. So, depending on the complexity of the art piece. But with the concept, they will then be doing all of the more engineering-related information, about the fabrication and how it will be done and everything like that. So, but we will be giving them a stipend to do that full development of a concept.
So don't get used to the tree at the entrance.
Yeah. Okay. It's there for now, but this is, like I said, this is their first time using this platform, and we were overwhelmed with how many artists were really interested in this project. So I think that is a very strong indication that we'll have a very good piece for this important park.
Excellent.
That is my
Thank
update.
you.
Thank you.
I just had one quick question about that because we had such significant interest. Is there any weight being held for local artists in that process?
Is there a what?
Like weight for local artists in the judgment process?
It wasn't weighted in the application process, but certainly we did outreach to local artists. Whenever we do any kind of call. I have a distribution list to a lot of the local galleries, to the Perez Art District, to the Joshua Tree kind of area. They have the art kind of crawl. I forget the highway, but we try to, and especially through the commission, really outreach to our local artists to give them those opportunities. Interestingly, we didn't get a lot of local, from the Coachella Valley response, but we have for other art exhibits that we've done. When we did the bench project for Ocotillo Park, it's specifically focused on local artists. And then when our commission is doing the quarterly art exhibits at the library, their focus has really been kind of on the local and regional artists to display, and really focusing on artists that maybe don't have gallery representation, are starting out or just representing themselves, to give them more opportunity for visibility. Coming up in March, the Public Arts Commission is going to be hosting an arts festival at the amphitheater, and it will have an opportunity for up to, I want to say we can do up to 40 some artists based on the amount of tents and tables that we'll have available, but are trying to build kind of a signature event that will, again, not be the really high-end artists like you have at La Quinta, but an opportunity for artists to have a low barrier to entry. So the entry fees will be low. The artists will be able to keep their full commission. We will not be taking a cut of their commission. And so that's what we've tried to do in the support of our local artists, both at the quarterly art exhibits as well as the upcoming festival.
That's amazing. And hopefully we'll have more once we have the community center and the art
Exactly.
studio in there.
I know one of the things that's been on my list, I need some gallery space in there. So whatever the walls, however they're configured, need to have space for us to be able to do exhibits, because that is also another challenge here.
Thank you.
One more,
Go ahead.
one more comment from staff. I want to introduce Michelle Molina. There you go. She is in training to take over for what Christina would be doing, to free her up for other duties. And so Michelle is also going to be an addition to our staff liaison team for you. So you're getting support of 4 people now. So you'll see her name up on the emails. So once you do that, once you see that, whatever you send in, you're going to send it to 4 people. So nothing's going to get lost from us. Okay?
Thank you.
So thank you, Michelle, for taking on these
Welcome
duties.
again.
Welcome.
Commissioner reports. Commissioner Jimenez?
Basically, I only have the meeting to attend for Desert Hacker. And we have another kind of like a meeting in Esperanza Park between the community and ours. And everybody say thanks for the park, because everybody using it. So thank you.
Commissioner McGullum?
I've got a few things. First, I really enjoyed volunteering at Pride with the city, and volunteering at the Hot Air Balloon Festival too. I think this year went really well, even considering the weather conditions that we had. So that was definitely a win. As far as Commissioner Herrera and I working on Paint with Pace, we are again taking a little bit longer with that with the holidays, and I think with the library being more short-staffed right now. We are planning on attending the Public Arts Commission next week just to see how we can collaborate with them on that event, and it also sounds like we may be able to work a little bit more with in Ambrose and the events that they have planned in Esperanza Park. So some seeds definitely being planted there. I mentioned about the Family Fitness Festival already, so hopefully more to come on that too. And then I am planning on attending Feliz Navidad and volunteering with Commissioner Beishu, and also attending the Snowfest. So lots of good things to come, and it's wild that it is December.
Right, I'll go last. I attended the Fields of Valor at Patriot Park. I've never been to it. I thought I was really impressed with it. There was a segment that had animal support nonprofit groups that for these animals for the vets that gives them peace. And Mark Carnevale asked me to stand up in the crowd, and and he said all these things about me that were like great and all the things I've contributed to the city. And if that's my last memory, I think that's a pretty great one. And I just want to say that he was a friend and a mentor, and he was a giant in this city and will be missed. Then I went back to also pick up the flags a week later, and I just want to say that code enforcement and police and fire, we got it done in 1 hour, which is a record for 3,000 flags. I marched in Pride with this one over here. And that was my 4th time, and I thought that was pretty awesome again. I attended the study session and city commission meetings. I attended an LGBT event at Palm Springs Outdoor Resorts with Mayor Ross. That was a fantastic resort. The Under the Rainbow group collected 700 pounds of food for the Cathedral City Food Bank, which I think is great. I attended the Balloon Fest. I took in 2 cover band shows, and I got to go up on the stage to give a tribute with Mayor Pro Tem and Ryan Hunt for Councilman Carnevale. I worked at the Senior Center Food Bank on the 24th. They announced that the city's HOAs, all these HOAs were collecting food around the city. 5,000 pounds of food came in that month. And I was working at the pasta station, and usually it's like pasta or it's the sauce. They could have both this time. The fact that there was so much stuff from the community, it was just really it's just amazing. And it was also my birthday, so they sang happy birthday. So I thought that was kind of cool. But the people coming out and donating all their food was awesome. I volunteered at the Salvation Army on Lando, and we served 300 people on Thanksgiving lunch. That was also paid for by funds from Mayor Ross. Yesterday, I handed out flyers at Agua Caliente Elementary School for Feliz Navidad. There were 150 flyers that were given to the parents, the deciders of what their kids are going to do this weekend. I hope I made an impact and we'll have a big crowd this weekend. We are going to need everyone's help, so I'll see the 2 of you on Saturday. We do have 3 other volunteers, and I had a meeting today with Adam, so everything looks like it's going to happen perfectly. So it never goes perfect, but we'll do our best. We were going to cut off the registration at 9:20, giving us 10 minutes to go seamlessly into the contest, which starts at 9:30. So it gives us 10 minutes to get everything ready for the judges. I'm not sure who's going to be the judges. We'll figure out. Council's been invited, but we'll see who shows up. And that's it. I want to have everybody have a great holiday. All right? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. Okay.
Future agenda items, Mr. Chair. And we have Paint with Pace. Commissioner McGollum, you want to keep that one on there?
I think we can, and hopefully we'll have more in January.
So if you haven't, we'll regenerate the other old staff report, but if you have more information to add to the old one, just give us a red line and we'll add to it. We'll put it in for a new one.
Perfect. I've got some staff reports coming your way, it sounds like.
So you got 2, and you have 1. But if there's any other agenda items for the January meeting, that'd be great. And we need them in, as Christina said, by the 14th. 16th. She just gave you 2 days.
This meeting is now adjourned. Yay.